Have you been struggling with getting the S ranks in the CrossWorlds time trials? My guess is that if you clicked on this video, that you are, or you just felt like seeing how someone else pulled it off. There is one gadget that was used by top players in time trials before the March update that after using it myself, not only in time trials but even online as well, I have realised just how much fun this gadget is as well as how effective it is. No, it isn't Tech Drift, no it isn't Ultimate Charge, heck it isn't even Drift Charge Kit. If you ask me, the most fun gadget to use in this game right now is Counter Quick Charge. Absolutely unrivaled in its charge speed. Counter Quick Charge supposedly fills one full drift charge gauge when performing a grounded counter drift, but that's not really what the gadget does, and we'll go over that in a minute. What I am here to show you is how I use this gadget to get every S rank in the CrossWorlds time trials. A fun build, a skill ceiling, and me helping make this easy for you. What's not to like? Hey guys, Counter Quick Pigeon here. If you don't know me, I love to make challenge videos on Sonic games. I suppose you could say today's video is a challenge run, but definitely check out some other challenges I've done after this one, ranging from Frontiers, Shadow Gens, and throwing Sonic into games that aren't even Sonic games. Like and subscribe if you like this kind of content, you'll feel right at home. Today's challenge, can you get every S rank in CrossWorlds using Counter Quick Charge? Every gadget kit I use across the races will have Counter Quick Charge equipped, the other 3 slots vary depending on the map choice, and I will explain the gadgets I use and why for each race. Does the challenge need much more explaining? Not really. Welcome to my guide on how to obtain every S rank in the game with style. But first, we must ask the question, what is Counter Quick Charge? Also, I wrote this intro, slightly edited it before 1.3.1 came out, so I've had to edit a lot of tracks to get the optimal time with the new gadgets. Just so you know. Counter Quick Charge can be found in the technical upgrade section of your gadgets. You may need to have played lots of races to unlock it because, quite frankly, I really cannot remember how to get it. And for 3 gadget slots, the game tells you that it fills up 1 gauge of the drift charge when performing a counter drift on land, except that's not really what it does. With access to the CrossWorlds Google Docky, we can see that the actual function of the gadget is that it grants 500% charge speed for 0.3 seconds after performing a counter drift. Now don't get me wrong, they do the exact same thing, but when you consider what this means for what this can pair with, it gets nutty. The charge speed technically stacks with other gadgets like Quick Charge's Drift Charge Kit, but the charge speed does cap at 5 times. I feel like I noticed it charge faster when paired with others, but for the sake of this video, let's just pretend it doesn't. Even then, the charge speed granted from this gadget alone stomps on every single gadget in the game. You just need to know how to properly use it. I combined this by using Blaze for the best speed stats as a character, with Neo Lytron as the car of choice. Any handling car works. The best choices are Lytron or Hot Hatch for speed, and Minecart for the boost stat. Any speed character also works too. I just found the most consistent results with this setup. Does this make sense? Let's wire into the races. All of these will be done on supersonic speed. The same strats should work for sonic speed too. In E-Stadium, we used Hyper Ring Engine and Runoff Bounty, but you could also replace the engine for starting Boost Bounty and Mini Ring Game Boost. If you aren't taking Runoff Bounty into E-Stadium for an S rank, you're doing it all wrong. This gadget trivializes this track when paired with Hyper Ring Engine. The strategy here is to use the massive shortcut at the beginning to fill your ring count up as much as possible, since Runoff Bounty gives you 5 rings of tech when boosting off-road. That, combined with Hyper Ring Engine or Mini Ring Game Boost, and you will gain a lot of speed and be able to take longer shortcuts, if that makes sense, because you can cover more ground paired with the speed gain. On the final lap, the blue boost pad still allows Runoff Bounty to work. Take the shortcut and then cut off the final off-road, and that's your S rank. The S rank time is 2 minutes and half a second. Oddly specific, but the timing is tight, so it might take a bit of practice, but you'll thank me later. For Rainbow Garden, we'll use Perfect Charge Bounty and Ring Engine. To get the most out of this combo, you'll need to learn how to snake, which you will do by drifting left, counter right, drifting right, counter left, rinse and repeat. With enough practice, you can rapidly gain rings, and since handling cars don't lose speed when drifting, you're not making any sacrifices for this. It is an absolute must that you grab the Wisp at the first turn, as for the end of lap 1 and 2, you're going to need 2 Wisps, one for the final turn and one for the first turn. My recommendation is to get the first Wisp and the one in the air for lap 1, and then the Wisp in the boardwalk and the end for lap 2. You can't counter Quick Charge in the air, but that shouldn't stop you from getting your Perfect Charge bounties in. You might prefer level 2 Quick Charge instead of Ring Engine for this reason, but I found this build to be the most effective. Final lap, just take your time to grab the King Wisp, race as normal, cut your final turn, and that'll be your S rank. Water Palace is a very short turn heavy track. I plan to use level 2 Quick Charge for this as the water section is quite long compared to Rainbow Garden's flight section, but I still opted for Ring Engine since the power is just unmatched. You can snake for level 2 charges instead of level 1, since the level 2s give you 6 rings over 3, and on a lot of the turns you can even get level 3 charges for even more rings. Get up to 100 super quick and just fucking rip down the tracks. Yes, you can leave skid marks too. God, that was childish, that joke. You don't need to be too crazy with the wisps. There's only one off-road section and it's right at the end. Don't even bother with the king wisp, it's too far off center. The 3 you need are all really easy to get, so just grab them. But don't beat yourself up if you take longer for this track. The S rank time is tighter than a nun, and it even took me quite a few tries to hit the rank with this setup. You're looking for a 2-minute and 19-second time for this. It's definitely rough, but more than possible. And also very easy compared to some later tracks. For only being the 4th stage, you may find Metal Harbor to be surprisingly difficult to pull off. There's actually no off-road at all, so theoretically it shouldn't be that hard. Well, you'd be surprised. To ensure that you don't miss out on any boost capsules, since you'll never get the last one, don't take the flight route on your first lap. Use the boost wisp whenever you're on a straight path, or if you find yourself slowing a little bit. One of the best times you can actually use it is on the shortcut at the end. Go normal speed, but drift over the ramp to hit the shortcut, and then drift round. This will take some practice for sure, but if you can manage it on all 3 laps with good perfect charge timing across the rest of the track, it really isn't too bad. Now, I actually managed Sand Road off stream using Drift Charge Kit along with Counter Quick Charge, but I never recorded it, so just trust me that it can work. If the physics on this stage really bother you, you can actually just run maximum traction in the final slot along with perfect charge bounty, since you won't drive with lower friction at all. Because the turns are long and huge, yes, I'm aware I could have worded that better, but here we are. Just like they are in Water Palace, level 2 quick charge works really well here. Not like I've tested, but that and replacing perfect bounty with runoff bounty and maximum traction is probably quite effective. But I found this build to work best. Don't use the shortcut at the start, it doesn't save you a whole lot of time and the other shortcuts are more effective. Also, the trick of going up top and then falling back down really isn't as good as you think either. On the water, make sure to jump forward and not right. Take the first shortcut, get the king wisp, get the second shortcut, and then bam, that's another S rank. Colourful Mall is probably the easiest to get down quickly. There's very little off-road, so just use what you used on Sand Road. The main time you'll use the boost wisps is through the tables at the ending shortcut, and then the one really weird indoor bit with grass. And somehow the staff of this place get the tables back up and running so unbelievably fast for the next lap. Make sure you take the top route where you can. You'll get a little extra speed from the tricks on the ramps, and it does actually pay off. The turns are nice and easy to do counter charges on, and you'll be up to max rings in no time at all. Genuinely a really easy one. Mystic Jungle, on the other hand, is not as easy. I think it has the lowest time requirement for supersonic speed, around 140 to 150. Like on Rainbow Garden, you need to have 2 wisps for the end of the track, and one of which has to be collected on the Aqua Road section since the path splits and you can only grab one of those in 1 lap. Get the first wisp, then an Aqua Road one, and then use Runoff Bounty at the end on the long off-road to get a massive speed boost along with Hyper Ring Engine. Your second wisp will take you along the off-road at the start, where you will now follow that path for the last 2 laps. Get the other road wisp and then the one near the snake, and do the same off-road paths. Take your time to slow down to get the final boost wisp, and get the greatest speed boost ever at the end, and grab your S rank. Despite me saying it's not as easy, it's still pretty easy because it isn't a lot to learn since it's a short track. Apotos is pretty impractical for counter quick charge, but it still works, and I'll show you how. The first straight helps you learn to snake. Keep getting your rings while going as straight as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you swerve around the end and boost wisp over the grass on the right of the ramp, this is the absolute fastest you can do this part. The rest of the stage isn't as packed as in the beginning, plus there are enough wisps for you to repeat this for laps 2 and 3. The benefit is with the track changing at the end giving you another boost wisp, you can use it over the grass at the ending. Other than that, the rest of the track is just knowing where and when to do your counter charges and build up those rings. I'm sure a runoff bounty strat would work well here too, but perfect charge bounty and level 2 quick charge worked best for me. Now, Wonder Museum is a funny one for me. I'm nearly top 100 in sonic speed, but I don't think I'm anywhere near it on supersonic speed. I just kind of locked in for this one. There isn't necessarily a super convoluted strategy for it, just ensure you take the off-road at the end, don't go up top in the middle, grab the wisp at the end, don't freak out too hard on the wisps with their tornado on the final lap, and, well, yeah, there isn't really much else to it. Your closest comparison is Water Palace. The benefit here is with no boat or flight segments, you can make full use of counter quick charge. Don't forget about taking the final lap shortcuts. Bypass the first dinosaur, snake at the end, and then that's your S rank. Crystal Mine is actually a lot easier than it looks. The only difficult part is the truck in the middle of the pit, but you could manage it without using it probably just once. This build makes the grounded parts really easy. The track is laid out really well, perfect for counter charging. For one of your laps, you could theoretically take this shortcut at the start, but it doesn't save a mass amount of time and it means you have to aim for the boost wisp on the right after the truck jump, which is quite tough to pull off. But with the right counter quicks, and if you get the extra shortcut, S rank guaranteed. I did some practice of this off stream and I actually managed to get top 100 while working on this guide. I'm still there as of writing this. Ocean View is also easy, it's just really tight and you need to ensure you do everything correctly. My recommendation is to just use the E Stadium build. The turns on this stage are really long, just like in E Stadium, so you won't get the same opportunities to countercharge as you would on others. You can take the shortcut midway through by going off the middle of the ramp, drifting left, and then as soon as you land, do a sharp left and you've made it. You might not get the wisp that's there, and if you don't, that's okay, because you don't need the shortcut every time. Make sure to get the best use of runoff bounty at the end and also use it at the start of the second lap to top up and get to 100 rings easily. From here, follow the regular path to guarantee the wisp, or you can still take the shortcut if you're that goated, and then use the shortcut at the end again. If you do everything right, you should still have a boost wisp for the final lap, so you have two options. You can run off bounty at the start of the final lap and pick up the king wisp for the end, or you can just save this boost wisp for the end. Once you're at 100 rings, the difference is minimal, but either one will land the S rank. Maybe after a couple of tries though. Now, I used to hate Pumpkin Mansion, like a lot. It has so much off-road and so many good turns. So my solution was this build. It's a very difficult S rank, don't get me wrong, and I don't think there's such thing as Pumpkin Mansion S rank for dummies, but if you follow this step by step, you should get it in a few tries. The fusion of perfect charge bounty will allow you to steadily accelerate for the majority of the first lap, and then max out your speed for the upcoming off-road. When you exit the mansion, boost off-road here, and then at the end, time the boost for the last minute so you can really tightly go around the corner and past the tombstone. Make sure that for the first branching path that you do not miss the wisp that you can grab. You will need to get these on laps 1 and 2 since you won't be able to make use of both of them otherwise. Try not to break any of the chandeliers because you will lose some speed if you do. You'll be easily able to counter quick back up to speed, but it's better to not hit them in the first place, and it's also really easy not to. On the final lap, do what you've been doing but go the top route to get the king wisp and use this for the final shortcut. With this routing, it's the most effective use of all 5 wisps, and that should be a pretty straightforward S rank. Not easy, but get the practice in, and you've got it. I actually nearly got top 100 with this, and I'm likely to practice some more to get it, which is funny because this run was incredibly sloppy. Krauser would not be happy. Sloppy! But you're here to learn the stages, not to see me get top 100. So let's move on. There's little off-road on Urban Canyon, and with its massive turns I opted for mini ring gain boost. Or at least I thought I did because I had level 2 quick charge when I hopped into the race. Which to be fair, you can't really go wrong with this trio. Despite counter quick charge being a grounded gadget, stay in the air and focus on your perfect charges throughout the race more than counter charges. Save your wisps for the off-road at the end, but don't sweat it if you somehow don't end up with one. Now, you don't need to, but when the shortcuts open, you can either snap drift it or just hard brake and then use your perfect charge to shoot off again. You can also take the regular route. This time trial isn't particularly hard. And neither is Market Street. Stay fully on the bottom route at the start, the top route is way slower. Grab whatever wisps are in your path, as you want to use one towards the end of the lap. Stay on the rooftops as long as you can, since there's less turning needing done and you can beeline where you need to go. On the final lap, go hard to the right to get the king wisp if you need it, and then go top from there. Run that shortcut, then do the end as usual. What a stage. Now I know what you're thinking. Snack, are you going to make me do the big skip in Coraltown? Yes, I am. Grab whatever rings you can and stick to the right. Retain this path, don't go on any branching path, grab the wisps on the way, you only need 3. Now, I won't lie. This took me a lot of tries to get right as well, and most people will probably do it better than me. But what I found most consistent was to hold the drift and counter just before going off, going hard left. You could release the drift mid-air, but it will throw off your targeting and you might not land where you expect to. Hold the drift when you land and let go of accelerate so you don't crash against the wall. Then, take the ending as best you can, and use a wisp over the massive shortcut. There's enough wisps along this route for you to repeat this for every lap, and you don't need the king wisp at all. And that's basically it. Now I hope you like technical drift because that's what this entire track is. No, I'm just kidding. I equip maximum traction for this because I hate the slippery physics, otherwise perfect charge bounty works perfect here. No pun intended. The most important use of boost wisp is going to be the shortcut at the end, but for this S turn at the start, it can be worthwhile cutting that if you have a wisp to spare. The king wisp is pretty inconsistent just due to where he spawns. I wouldn't rely on that one at all. There isn't too much need for it in the grand scheme of things. Snake on the straights to keep your ring count up, and then that's your S rank. Again, with Radical Highway, it's got those big turns so you won't always have the chance to do counter quicks, but that's no problem. Avoid the fences and take whichever direction you want at the first split path. Only one boost wisp is needed throughout the track, and it's right at the end for the only bit of off-road that the track has, and it's tiny. Try and use the slopes at the sides of the bridge since you'll move faster over rapid dash pads than you would on a steep hill, then a long drop. This could open up the opportunity to use dash panel combo bounty and mini ring gain boost instead of what I chose, And to be honest, it's probably better to use that than what I was using here. Both will easily net you the S rank. The King Wisp is out in the open as well, but you'll have 100 rings by the time you reach it, so between that and 20 rings, it's an easy choice by that point. Go left at the final stretch for more dash pads, because again, you'll have most of the rings you need by now, and if you're on combo bounty, you'll go even faster. Despite being a very open map, Chao Park actually ended up being really difficult, and I'm not just saying this because the last 6 in a row went smoothly. 206 is really strict for this stage, and there's no off-road, so it's really tough to decide where to use the available boosts. And I feel like there's a lot of them. I opted to use the wisps at the start and the end of the track, since the lip on the edge can be used to jump the gap and cut the corner. The time save isn't huge, but it beats using the wisp on some random straight for an actual minimal save. Because the turns are much longer, I again opted for mini ring gain boost, but it seemed like every time I was picking up on something new, I was getting a worse time. With a few more attempts, this ended up working. Doing level 1 boost snakes on the straights gains a lot of speed, and you won't lose any speed turning in a handling car. Despite my unsatisfactory gameplay, Dumpy Factory is actually really easy. The most difficult part of it is avoiding the car washers. I lost most of my runs to this part. I think the quote-unquote shortcut at the end is meaningless. You're better off sticking to the main path and then learning to hard brake past the cars in the middle to cut through the big turn. Use at least one lap to take the turn normally and grab the wisp though. Your most important shortcuts are the first grass patch and the last grass patch, and that's basically it. If you can only do one, do the first. The King Wisp can be a bit difficult to get, but if you manage every wisp, it's basically a guarantee. Now, Aqua Forest really shines when you use a trick focus build, however when running counter quick charge, you can't really do this. And trust me, I'm going to eat up those words later. Level 2 quick charge is crucial for this, since the abundance of water will really limit your counter charge usage. The turns are really easy here. For the first part, don't take the bounce pad, just stay on main and then use the hoop to go up top. Use the boost whiff to cut through the gazebo thing, whatever the fuck you call that. Try and aim for level 2 bounces in the water, since you'll be able to charge pretty fast. You won't be using any drift stuff if you were to run air tricks, so this should feel pretty natural, and overall, a little more fun. Don't bother with the wisp on the main path, you really don't need it and the time loss is huge. But do bother with the King Wisp on the last lap. Take it from me, it does make the difference. It was very close, but you'll get there easily. Expo was easily the hardest so far. It's so far the only main stage to have both a flying and water section, aside from CrossWorlds. And as we know, counter quick only works on land. So really, follow the same logic as Aqua Forest and you'll be fine. Take the left path on lap 1, then the right path on the others. Focus on level 2 charges when you're in the air, and do a full charge jump at the start and the end of the water. You should spend most of the water section grounded and stay away from the edges. Letting go of accelerate will help you stay on course. For the final lap, you should be fast enough to hit the dash pad before Egg Dragoon for that extra bit of speed. And on the final lap, use your boost to bypass the boxes, and after God knows how many tries this took me, the S rank is yours. You're disgusting. It's a flat map and very easy to do counter drifts on, but this hydraulic press is the bane of my existence. It will bounce you up basically wherever you are, even if you're long out the way, or more importantly, right as you are trying to grab a wisp. You want to grab the first 2 wisps on the track and loop all the way back round with them, and then take the shortcut at the end, then in the cave. You won't necessarily need every wisp, but on lap 2, grab the one on the big turn and one of the 2 at the end, and repeat. If you get the last wisp, great, but I still manage my S rank without it. Somehow getting a PB as well. I shouldn't really need to explain this given Chronos is the S rank of all time, but it truly is free if you run this setup. You could also run the full ring gain boost if you didn't feel that level 2 quick charge was necessary, but I really like it, so I stuck with it. You need every boost wisp. And there's only like one that's reasonably difficult to get. As long as you get one of the 3 in the first half and one of the 3 in the second half, take the off-road after the second ramp, then the shortcut at the end, this is the easiest S rank ever. The only difficult-ish wisp to get is the one between the boxes at the end and the King Wisp on the first ramp. But overall, the 6 wisps are really straightforward to get, so I don't see you having any difficulty with this one. Now, white space was just a regular space before I got there. I honestly found this to be one of the hardest S ranks, and it's purely down to its risk factor, since most of the kind of dodgy moves will just straight up kill you, especially at the start. Staying close to the middle is quite risky despite being the fastest route. At the water, you can cut the corner of the first corruption puddle quite nicely just by jumping, and it saves you a boost wisp doing it this way. Use a boost wisp at the off-road at the end. You could probably run runoff bounty for this, but I didn't feel it would be beneficial in the long run, at least for my style. On the final lap, the layout significantly changes, but the major difference is only the end. When flying, go only for level 2 charges, and save a wisp for going over the corruption at the end. I have a lot of footage of failing Sky Road, and I'm sure you can imagine why. Only 2 major turns, a big flying section. This map was not built for counter drifting. The major parts you need to remember are that the first shortcut does save you time as long as you drift as you go on it, and this funky shortcut by going off the side of the slope and tricking back on track. And yeah, that's basically how to do it, despite this taking me overall like an hour. Not nearly as difficult comes Roulette Road, with the only annoying part being the 2 massive turns at the end. There's no off-road, so just save your boost whiffs to crash through the stacks of tokens at the start of each lap, really just for convenience instead of raw speed. Use your counter charges at the start, and on the straights in the middle, you only need 3 wisps to break the token stacks at the start. Take the big turns normally instead of countering, and that's basically all I need to tell you. So I bet you're wondering why I'm straight to Golden Temple and why I forgot Kraken Bay. Well, you see, I didn't, but as you can guess by the time on screen, I did spend a little too much time on Kraken Bay. Most of the CrossWorlds are hard to give detailed strategies on, but what I found for Golden Temple was to go either left or right for lap 1 and 2, and then the middle for the final lap. Wow, my window just blew open. Don't jump on the water section, other than at the start, like in Eggman Expo. It's just not suitable enough for when you run counter quick charge. Boosting over will do fine. Okay, so by this point, I've been recording a lot of the tracks again because of the new gadgets, and as you can imagine, Kraken Bay was one of them. Because of the nature of this track, having 2 boat sections and a flight section that's always the fastest, mind you, I didn't test skipping the second water section, but my point stands. Counter quick charge just isn't efficient for this. But I'm going to use it anyway. I tried various other options, like Morph Action Bounty and Hyper Ring Engine, like Perfect Charge Bounty and Regular Ring Engine, but the build I opted for in the end was Starting Boost Bounty, Morph Action Bounty, and Ring Engine. This was really difficult, so don't be surprised if this takes you many tries, but you basically always want to do level 1 charges in the air or on the water, since no matter the charge level, it will always give just 4 rings. Prioritize the rings where you can. Once you get to 100, you can start going for wisps. In the air, go right. The 20 ring pool is much safer there than on the left, and in fact that's where I was going wrong for hours on end trying to get this. Even on lap 2 and 3, keep going left for the water section, do level 1 charges, and save a boost whisk to pass the tentacle on the final lap. Even my time was way too close. They want 2 minutes, 9.5 seconds for this S rank, probably the hardest one out of any of them. Debatable. Magma Planet could be harder. I took the exact same build I used, like for like, bar for bar, and when I got a 1.6 second time loss on my first lap, I knew I was either playing like shit or this wasn't working. Spoiler alert, it was the former. Well, not necessarily. I got a much better lap 1 after, but contemplating if any of the optional land paths were worth it, I revisited the build. You see, starting Boost Bounty is a really good gadget, but with how often you're in the skies, the trade-off for a full gadget slot to only be used right at the start just is not worth it. So, we went with Hyper Ring Engine instead, replacing Starting Bounty and Ring Engine. And holy shit did this work a treat. The elevated boost stat from the Ring Engine made counter drifting a piece of cake, and you could rapidly build your rings back up with practically instant charges when flying. 2 tries of that, and the S rank was mine. Now, Hidden World was real tough at first, but the same strategy as Magma Planet works. It's very air heavy, so literally just run the same build, and you've got it. Try and use all 3 wisps just for convenience at the end. Stay as close to the middle as possible, then continue to counter charge along. Spam level 1 charges in the air to keep your rings up, and that's basically all you need to do here. Classic Perfect Charge Bounty and Ring Engine will get the job done here. Never take the lower path. You've killed your S rank the second you take that route. Even if you go back up, just reset. The roads are perfect for counter quick bounties, the only dodgy one being the shortcut at the start. It will take some practice to get down, but unavoidable once you've learned it. I use my boost wisps on the final flight part, and then when re-entering the portal, I would perfect charge down, then straighten up, use the 2 dash rings, then perfect charge back up. Definitely a tougher one, but far from impossible. Same build as before. The only thing you need to remember about Dragon Road is the boost wisps, as the shortcut during the water part is mandatory. You don't always need to do level 3 quick charges. Wait. You don't always need to do level 3 perfect charges, because they might actually screw you over. All my completed attempts of this ended up being an S rank. I don't think you'll have too much trouble. I know I hardly showed anything here, but like, believe me, there's like nothing to show. It's really easy. Again, a really easy one. You don't need the wisp to do this. Just make sure you're good with tech drift because the friction is low for the entire track. Just do level 1 charges in the water, jump forward to build speed, and do some controlled turns at the end. I genuinely cannot say any more than this. It's also really easy. I'm going off script again. Those 2 are so easy. Galactic Parade is loaded with dash panels, so not using a dash panel bounty would be insane. I used a mini panel bounty, Morph Action Bounty, and Ring Engine. Take some time to learn the main road as that's where most of the panels are. Your Ring Engine will be top notch all the time as long as you do constant ring charges as well. And again, not too much else to say other than that. This was probably the most fun CrossWorld just for how unique the strategy ended up being. Let me get this through to you now. I hate Dino Jungle. The water slide is inconvenient, the dinosaurs are overbearing fucks, and the end of the track has worse collision than Chaos Island. But with the classic Charge Bounty and Ring Engine, it's kinda easy. The gadgets aren't as important as the routing here. What I found best is to not jump at the first water jump. hold your charge for the second one, where you release after you go into the air to boost forward instead of up. Go around the first corner and then start charging your jump to release a perfect level 3 charge onto the road. Stay on the left of the first dinosaur to slip through and grab the first wisp, and the end by taking the off-road shortcut, but not on the tree on the inside. Just go the normal path and stay straight on the dinosaur's back at the end. Do the same for lap 2, but go on the right of the first dinosaur. Then on lap 3, jump for the king wisp. It's very inconsistent overall, but this route I found would dodge the bullshit the easiest. Definitely let me know how you get on if you try this stage. I was dreading Sweet Mountain because the boat section irritates me that much, but then I remembered there is 2 massive off-road sections on this track. Would they be enough? As it turns out, yes. The first one isn't a shortcut, but use runoff bounty and boost over this on lap 1. Grab the first boost wisp when you drop down, then the second one just before the first boat jump. Boost along the off-road on the right when you're back on land, grab the last wisp, and repeat, except don't use the big off-road again. Just use the final shortcut. Your routing will get you the king wisp. I got top 100 using this, so thank me later. White Cave, huh? Well, it was just a regular cave before I got there. White Cave, man, it's fun, but it sure as shit isn't easy. The most optimal path is really tight, and even on some of those paths, you've got Rayman 2 tentacle spikes coming at you. I used an air tricking build, and I'm sure it's obvious by now that counter quick charge isn't the most optimal gadget to use in the CrossWorlds, but this was still very effective. Always take the path to the left after the tunnel, by falling out the tunnel and then instantly drift left. Control your turn until you're in the line with the path, and then drift left just before the jump pad. Bam. That's the main thing you need to know. This branch at the start will also let you do a big jump, allowing for more air tricks. Boost character kit will probably get the job done as well, but I just really love Ring Engine. But damn, that was really close. Surprisingly enough, the same build worked a charm in cyberspace. Most of the time saves will come from tricking to get your rings back up, and where and when you decide to use the wisps, which for me was using it after the shortcut on the first big turn. I like to go right at the start and then connect to the dash rings by drifting right just before I go off. It'll straighten you up, and you can easily get the wisp up there. Don't use the whip to go through the bollard. Just cut round the left to the right as closely as you can, and the turn is much sharper and safer. Stick to the left on the trucks at the end, except the last lap where you'll go right instead. The raw speed at the end makes it so difficult to weave the oncoming trucks, but go right and they'll be moving with you, making weaving in and out a ton easier. So I had it in my head that Digital Circuit was loaded with dash panels, and to be fair, I wasn't exactly wrong, so I started with using Hyper Ring Engine and Mini Panel Bounty, and it worked a treat. I got a PB on my first try, didn't record it, so then I got another PB on my second try, and here's how. You can really precisely go on the dash pads and collect some rings on the field, and still get a good speed boost from it. On lap 1, grab the 20, and then go through the dash rings on 2 and 3, aiming for the blue spot to get double rings. Stay close to the centre to shorten your path at the end, taking the dash pad routes always, and then bam. That makes the time trial really easy. But I didn't want to stop there. I felt like I could have done better, and what better way to maximise the stats than to just use both ring engines. Let's do this. And that netted me number 26 on the leaderboard at the time of recording. What a way to end off. I did think of adding the DLC tracks in here, but I think I'll wait until more come out before then, since we could be getting more free tracks as well. Besides, this video is already long enough. And I fucking hate a Bikini Bottom. So you can see the effectiveness of counter quick charge, and I would have glazed this gadget as the best in the game had 1.3.1 not come out during the production of this video. But I'm glad it did, because the synergies are wild. Sure, it's not the top choice in every track, but hopefully this tutorial helps you get your S ranks if you're still to do that. Let me know down below how you get on if you try any of my strategies. I will also leave a link down below of an unlisted video of every track unedited using the strategies discussed in this video, so you can see how they're put to use before trying yourself. And with that comes an end. Thank you so much for watching to the end if you did. This video really did take a while to make, so any and all support is much appreciated. Leave a like if you enjoyed and drop a comment down below if you want. I love reading them. And subscribe for more challenges like this. You can also support me monetarily by using my paid subscription here or on Twitch. Follow me there too. You can tip me on Ko-Fi or Coffee or whatever you call it, or use code Snackpigeon at checkout in Sonic Rumble. I'll leave all relevant links down below. You won't want to miss out on the Twitch livestream since I play all my challenges there and some more. Big shout outs to hweilla and Makon for the thumbnail, and to you guys for watching to the end. My name is Snack, and I'll see you in the next one.
Your life is everything. You serve all purpose. You should treat yourself now and give yourself a piece of that oxygen in the ozone layer that's coming up so that you can breathe in this blue trap bubble. Because you know